Protecting your children. Your children being in the situation they're in, oftentimes there's people out there that look at them like they're vulnerable and they're easy to hurt. The Bible tells us in Matthew 7:15, it says, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves." Now, there's wolves out there that want to hurt you and hurt your kids. I want to encourage you, make sure you protect your kids. I grew up around Penn State area, and around where the Jerry Sandusky thing happened. You probably heard of that before, where this guy was hurting kids through his nonprofit. And I wanted to play football. I was one of my dreams to play football when my mom had me in the Christian school, and so football wasn't really an option where I was at. And I'll tell you what, I'm thankful that I didn't go down that path, because I could have ended up being one of those Jerry Sandusky kids. I could have been down that path because I lived pretty close to there. And I was an at-risk kid growing up, and his nonprofit was for at-risk kids, and I could have been plugged into that. As parents, we got to make sure we focus on protecting our kids and doing our best. Sometimes we're not going to see things that could hurt them. Sometimes we're not going to be able to, but some things we can do to help our kids out. And is it always a surefire thing? No, because there's people out there that might try to hurt them. Should you never let them around people? That's not the answer. Does this mean that you should never allow anyone around your children? No. Does this mean that you should do your homework or monitor any relationships out of the home? Yes, that's what this is talking about. So here's some things you can do to kind of help make sure that your kids are protected. First thing is be present. Be present. Be present at the same activities, at the same places when children are getting mentored or being taught things outside of your home. Make sure you're present, but don't make sure you still let them get involved in those things. But try to be present. Try to, if you can, be around those situations. Again, another thing is never let them be alone. Never let your children be alone with another adult anywhere. Make sure the group is going. Now you have to use discretion with being their guardian. You have to make sure that you're using discretion, but just be careful who you let them alone with, okay? Make sure you take care of them. Trust your gut. You have an instinct. You have a gut where maybe this isn't the best person for them to be around. You've built an intuition. You have a built-in intuition as a parent, as a guardian, that you can help them out and make sure. If you have a weird feeling, if they seem like a weirdo, okay, they probably are a weirdo, okay? You gotta make sure you protect your kids and don't just let them go with anyone. Protect your child's innocence also. That's another thing. Make sure you protect your child's innocence. One of the worst things that can happen to a child is when they lose their innocence. It hurts them. And so protect them from people. Don't let them go around people that are going to try to take away their innocence. Keep them away from people that might hurt them. Now, this could include family. And sometimes you got to break some ties with family. I had some family not one time, and I won't even name the name, but I had this one relative that he had this nasty nickname for me. And every time I saw him, he either called me that or called me something else. And he was always speaking down to my sister and I. Just a nasty person when we were kids. And it was just a struggle. He never hurt us physically or anything, but he was just always just ripping us apart and just being a jerk to us, to be honest with you. I'll tell you what, we didn't really need to be around that guy. And I kind of wish we wouldn't have never been around him. And there was really never anything positive from that relationship. And if there's people around your kids like that are maybe potentially hurting your kids or not healthy for your kids, break that relationship. It doesn't matter who it is. Maybe it's your siblings. Maybe it's maybe it's a parent of yours. Maybe it's one of your relatives or coworkers or neighbors or whatever. Keep your kids, protect your kids. It's better for your kids to have innocence than for you to have that relationship with that person that's going to hurt your kids. So protect your kids from that. And then also be careful with sleepovers. That's one thing you got to be careful with. I don't have, again, an expertise on this, but Dr. Dobson, he has some advice on this, and he's the guy that started focusing on the family. He's not with them anymore. He's with Family Talk now. But listen to what he says there. He says, or this is what somebody said about what Dr. Dobson believes. He said, James Dobson believes that children should not participate in sleepovers. The world has changed, he says, and it has become too dangerous to allow your children out of your sight for so long. In his book, Bringing Up Girls, he says, sadly, the world has changed in the last few decades, and it is no longer a safe place for children. Pedophiles and child molesters are more pervasive than ever. That is why parents must be diligent to protect their kids every hour of the day and night. Until you have dealt with little victims as I have and seen the pain in their eyes, you may not fully appreciate the devastation inflicted by molestation. It casts a long shadow on everything that follows, including future marital relationships. Therefore, parents have to think the unthinkable in every situation. The threat can come from anywhere, including neighbors, uncles, stepfathers, grandfathers, Sunday school teachers, coaches, music instructors, scout leaders, and babysitters. Even public bathrooms can be dangerous today. He believes that the threat is so pervasive that parents should not allow their children to participate in sleepovers. Now, that's up for your discretion. You get to decide that. But I'm just saying this is just something that Dr. Dobson says, and it's just something you need to be careful with as you protect your kids and kind of make sure that they're around the right things. Make sure you protect your kids and keep them away. Maybe there's a relationship you have. It's not the best relationship for you to have around your kids. Break that relationship. Don't be afraid to break these things, and don't be too selfish not to break a relationship off. Honestly, they need that. And the last thing is, only let your children be around solid, dedicated Christians that have a strong testimony of the faith. Make sure they're around people that's going to help them. It's not their job to be a missionary to the adults around you. It's your job to protect your kids and then let them grow in the faith, and then maybe someday they can be an influence. But your job is to help them grow and walk with them and not let them be influenced by all kinds of things of the world. You want to help your kids succeed. You want to help your kids with these things. Protect your kids, okay? Protect them from the things that could hurt them. Again, this is up for you to discretion, but right now, take a little time to kind of examine what's in my life that maybe would be better if it wasn't there for my kids.